Hello everyone, Tanak here. Tonight we're going to do something a little bit special. People love top 10 lists and I've been playing for a while, so I figure it's time that I do my top 10 list of things that you need to know if you're going to be doing industry seriously in EVE Online. Number one is Go Omega. Okay. I'm on my alpha account just to show you what you get. What you get when you're playing an alpha account on the industry side of things is you're getting a teaser. You're getting like only a small fraction of what you need to do industry. So you will be able to launch a build job. If you go in production, you will be able to launch build job. You will be able to have up to 4 production slots, and that's it. You will be very, very limited. You will not be able to get all the way to 11 slots for production. You will be limited to mining frigate. So you will be able to have mining frigate, the venture. You will not be able to fly mining barge. Mining is the baseline, is the foundation of industry, is mining. You will not be able to access that. You will not be able to get efficient reprocessing. You will be limited to doing very, very basic reprocessing. So you'll be able to put 3 point. You will not have reprocessing efficiency. You will not have reprocessing the reprocessing skill that you need. So you will be very, very limited. You will only have 1 slot for reaction. You will be limited in your research skill. You will not be able to do PI. The limit that you will have in industry are just basically too big to be able to not go Omega if you want to take that seriously. Now, can you plex doing industry? Yes, it is possible. I think now that it is possible. It's going to take a huge chunk of your profit, but somebody could be mining efficiently, producing, bringing in more than $1 billion a month and plexing with that. It is possible, but it is going to be hard to get to the point where you can plex. So you might want to invest some cash to get to Omega before even thinking of plexing with industry. So that would be my number one. Now I'll switch character and we'll go to number 2. Okay, number 2. Number 2 is mineral are not free. It is easy when you're starting out to avoid doing any type of math and saying, okay, I am mining stuff with my mining barge or with my venture, and then I'm using a blueprint and I'm producing stuff, and yay, everything's great. So if I'm selling that capital component here, or those 8 capital component at 42 million ISK, and we're going with the assumed sell price here, I'm not making 42 million ISK. The mineral that you're using have a value. You always have the ability to go sell those minerals straight away. So what you do want to take into consideration is that those minerals have a cost. So you will be like here, you can see that my estimated price of the mineral is 62 million, and the estimated item value is 43 million. So in that case here, I am actually losing money if I'm producing that item. That is because the estimated cost is very low. So there is item like that where there's an oversupply on the market. You don't want to be producing those items, and you especially don't want to keep adding to the already flooded market by not taking the mineral value into account. You would rather take a freighter and go sell all those minerals than running a production job and producing items that are worth less. So mineral are not free. always take that into consideration. Always take the value of your mineral into consideration, and take into account that you might go and sell the mineral, and you could be making more money than producing. So you really have to not go blindly producing without taking that into consideration. Now, number three is use player-owned structure. A good example here is, as you will see, my structure here has a rig installed that reduce the value, the cost of mineral by 7%, and another 1% because I'm using a Raitaru. So each structure in player-owned structure in game have built-in bonus, and they can have rig bonus. So if you're using an NPC station, you're not getting those bonus. So you will get a maximum refining base yield of 50%. You will get a 0% material efficiency on production job. And the way you can find it out there is if you go in the production tab in facility, you can look at different facility, and you can see here that, okay, this station has a rig for battleship, and this station has a rig for freighter, and a rig for industrial command ship. So it's the same rig, by the way. But you can, if you're browsing in the structure here, you can see which rig the station has. That way you're able to find player-owned structure, and even if they're charging you a cost, they're probably charging you less than the NPC station, and you can get more efficiency. So every percentage that you save on your mineral is money that you make in your pocket when you're selling. So that is a huge, I cannot stress that enough. Don't go refining and producing at NPC station. I mean, if it's an item of is not too valuable and you just need the item fast or whatever, okay, but I mean, you will not run an efficient business if you're going like this. Player-owned station have a problem, is that they're notoriously unreliable for the owner. The owner will close the station because if you like it, they can get attacked. That is part of the game, but it is worth it to manage that potential problem, to get that extra efficiency. Find a good corp, or find a owner that will let you use his station for a reasonable price. Find a corp that has station that can give you access, but you really want to be getting those bonus. So we're talking, you can get an extra, you can get, like, just for example, if you're refining in low sec versus high sec at a base at an ore, you will get at 55% base refining yield instead of 50. So you're getting an extra 5%, which is 10% more mineral because you're getting 50% base. So it is really, really significant. So take time to find yourself a nice place to produce with player-owned structure. Number 4, blueprint. You don't need to own every single valuable blueprint. If you're producing a battleship and the blueprint is costing 1.5 billion ISK, you don't have to buy it. You can easily go into the contract here and find, let's say I want to produce a Dominix or a Megatron. So a Megatron blueprint here, okay, less than $1 million for a Megatron blueprint, and it is a fully researched one. Now, how would a Megatron blueprint original cost? Well, we'll find out right away. Let me just check here. Marketer. So let's say a Megatron BPO. That same blueprint is 1.2 billion. So, and it's not a research blueprint. So you need to produce loads and loads of Megatron before it is worth it to buy the blueprint. Go buy this one. It's fully researched. So you're producing 10. It's still not worth it to buy the blueprint. You need to be producing hundreds and hundreds of Megatron for it to be worth buying the blueprint. And that goes for a lot of expensive blueprint. In the same reasoning, the blueprint that you do buy because you're producing often, do the research on them. Get them to the maximum efficiency, especially the material efficiency, because you will be getting 10% less mineral cost on your production. So that is extra profit every time you do a build job. So when you do get a blueprint, research them to the maximum. You want to have those blueprint research. And the first few, I mean, sometimes pushing it to 10 might be debatable because it's long, because it's expensive, but at least get them to 5, 6, 7. It's usually pretty easy, pretty fast, and it is really, really worth it. So research those blueprint. So that was number 4, master the blueprint system. Number 5, system cost index. Okay, each system in game has a system cost index, and that system cost index can vary greatly and affect the cost of production significantly. Like here, you see that in my system where I'm producing in Beke, well, I'm paying to launch that build job. I'm paying 1 million ISK. Okay, if I would be doing that in a closed empty system with a 0 or 0.5 system cost index, I would be paying 250,000. One way that you can find it out if you want, and I like using that tool, is using Eve Hive Explorer. Let's say I'm in Genesis, which is my little system here. You can go in the node and use the system manufacturing cost index. Here you can see that, for example, here in Beke, I'm at 0.3, and what you want, no, at 1.95, like we saw before. So what you want is you want to have this cost very low. Okay, this is when we got into Beke, and just to give you an example, when we got into Beke initially, it was at 0.10 like this. Okay, so that is 1 month of our corp, of 100 people corp producing there. It has an impact. The more people produce in an area, the more that system cost goes up, and the more expensive it is to launch a build job. And I've seen people producing in JITA. So if you go into JITA is the forge. Those system cost index here, or is JITA here, 11.87. Perimeter, where you have the TTT, 11. Don't produce in those systems. You will pay a fortune in production costs. You don't want to be using those systems. So find a system in your area and find production facility in a system that is not used too much. You want to be using a system with the lowest system cost index. So this can have a significant impact on your profit. So just know that it is important. Okay. Now number 6 is contract. Okay, master the contract system. I've shown you before that can be useful to get blueprint. It can be useful to buy material. It can be useful to sell. If you are selling at an NPC station or at GIDA or even at the TTT at a player station, you will have that 1% tax. Well, you can save that because you can always have the ability to put a contract for what you're selling. It is especially true if you're selling large ship. You do not want to be selling large ship on the market, and you don't want to be buying large ship on the market either. You need to learn how to read a contract, how to understand if you're getting scam or not, and use that contract system. Put the same thing. Let's say I want to sell an orca. Well, is there any orca to sell? Like this guy here, he wants to buy an orca for 800. And you can go here and you can see, like, okay, what's your competition here? These are guys selling blueprint, but you can go here, probably. This is still blueprint. We'll get to the point where we'll get the ship. Okay, now we're in the ship. So you see, this guy here is selling an orca for $1 billion. Selling an orca for 1.10 billion. So you can go into, you can compare it to selling an orca here in GIDA, or the buy order in GIDA. These guys are buying for 1.3. So right now, I mean, first of all, these guys, I mean, you need to compare, okay? Because here, these guys are located at the end of the, like, this is null space. This is, I think, is null space 2. So they're still like, you still have to consider where the contract is and how you can get it. But you can save yourself the tax. Sometime you'll find much better deal on contract than you would in GIDA. So learn the contract and search the contract before you're making a large sale or a large purchase. And that is important, especially in industry, because a lot of large ship are being sold on contract. So learn that. Number 7. PI. You need to understand PI, and you need to be doing PI, and you need to be doing PI planetary production here. There's a lot of tutorial that will explain how to do PI, and I'm not going to explain it here exactly, but you'll see. Okay, here I'm actually a very bad example, because I haven't moved my PI production since we moved to Becquet. I should be using like local planet where I can go harvest more efficiently. But you want to be using those planetary production because it is basically free passive ISK. You will have material that are produced every day. You will need those material for a lot of the most advanced production. So you want to set up your PI to produce your material that you will use in production. Also, when you're doing PI, an important thing to remember is that you have all those skills here that you need to advance, to train, to be able to do your PI. And you want to train the most important one, interplanetary consolidation, which allow you to have more planet, and command center upgrade, which is important to make better use of the planet you have. And also another important skill in PI that you want is custom code expertise. Okay, PI in ISEC is not very good. The reason it's not very good, the main reason is the planet are a little less productive. That's one of the reasons, but that's not the main reason. The main reason is that you get an extra 10% tax on the ISEC planet. that's built in. That's the game is like this. So even if the owner will set his tax at 0, say, okay, use my planet for free, that's the POCO owner, you would still need to pay 10% tax. That's built in. And that little skill here, custom code expertise, will allow you to reduce that 10% by up to 5%. So if you got that max out, you will pay only 5% instead of 10% tax. And that is also, on top of that, you have to add what the POCO owner is charging. So all in all, PI in ISEC, yeah, but you want to be doing PI. It is important. Okay, I need to stop getting out of that station. So that is my number 7. Get into PI when you can and use it and get those free passive ISK. Okay, number 8. Number 8 are invention skill. Okay, those are the science skill here. When you're doing invention, you will have a chance of success. So the way invention works is you're doing a blueprint copy, and then you're using that copy here. And with that copy here, there's a little thing called invention. Okay, and invention is basically you're trying to get that basic blueprint here to get a T2 blueprint, and you have here a chance of success. Okay, the chance of success can be altered by using a decryptor here. So if you have decryptor, you can use them and select them to use them. But what I wanted to talk to you about is here, those science skills will affect the probability of success of getting your research job. So you want to be using, if you're doing serious invention, you want to pump those science skills because you want to increase your chance. Because I mean, every time you fail, you're losing decryptor and you're losing blueprint copy. So the higher that chance here, the more efficient you are, the more successful invention job you will run, the more blueprint you will have to run your T2 production. So if you're doing serious invention, get into that ASAP. Okay, that is very, very important. Number 9 is reaction. Reaction is the process by which you turn moon mineral or gas or biochemical into higher tier material that you can use for more advanced production. For example, okay, there's 3 types of reaction. You got the composite reaction, the hybrid reaction, and the biochemical reaction. So the example here that I'm going to give you is composite reaction. So the way it works is you have blueprints here, which are called formula. It's the same as a blueprint, but you can't research them. And you will use your formula and take material and fuel block and get an output. So the way it works is there's a 2-tier system. So you will start with, these are what you get when you refine moon mineral. So that's the moon goo. And the first step is you will turn the moon goo into what they call an intermediate material, like in this case, Fernit alloy. And once you get you can get a bunch of those material here. So here you have the moon goo, here you have the alloy, and then what you will do is it's a second step in the process where you will take your intermediate material, and again it's 2 intermediate material plus a fuel block, and you will produce what is called a composite material. Composite material are used in T2 production. So if you want to build a T2 ship, well, you will need composite material. So that is how you produce them, is through reaction. One thing that you need to know is reaction can only be done at player-owned station in low sec, null sec, or wormhole space. You cannot be doing that in ISEC. You cannot be doing reaction in ISEC. And if you want to get serious with production, you will want to get into T2 production. You will want to, because there's more profit in there, because there's less people, there's less competition. So if you are serious about production, you will want to get into that T2 production, and you will want to get into reaction. So that was my number 9. Number 10. Number 10 is I told you about contract. That's one way to sell, but you will probably still sell a lot of your stuff at a player station, because like if you're selling rail guns or ammo, that usually won't sell too well on contract unless it's part of a fully fitted ship. So you will need to sell at station. What you want is you want to rank up 2 skill, which is accounting and broker relation. Those skill will lower the amount of tax and fees that you pay to list a job. So they are really, really important skill, especially if you're using NPC station like JITA, because they will, I mean, you can save a lot of money, because down the line, if you're saving like 2% on every transaction you make, well, on your Eve career, it's going to be a lot of money. So don't forget about those two skill, accounting and broker relationship. And if there is a player-owned market in your area, I mean, I understand the appeal of selling into JITA because of the volume. Things sell fast. I can understand that you want to sell in JITA, but do consider using local station, local player-owned market hub. You can pay a lot less tax. Sometimes you can save yourself travel. Sometimes if there is enough volume to support a little local market where you can be making more money. So always check the market, learn to play the market, because producing the entire industry supply chain is at the end you end up with a finished good, but what you want is to turn that finished good into liquid ISK for you. So to do that, well, you need to sell. You need those trade skill. You need those trading skill, or you need to find a way to sell. So you need to master the art of selling at a good price. So that kind of that finish my list, my top 10 list. If I had one thing to add, I'll give you a little bonus one, and that would be get out of ISEC. ISEC production is really just a demo of what you can do, but it is not efficient. It is not a good way to make money. You can mine in ISEC if you want, but all the rest of the production chain, don't do it in ISEC. You need to, if you're an industrial player, you're probably not somebody that likes to fight that much, or well, you can be one of those rare beasts like me that enjoy both, but you want to be you need to have access to those better facility, those extra step in the supply chain that you need for reaction, that better yield, that PI with less tax. You really want to go that way. So get out of ISEC, and don't do it alone. Get some friend and get out of ISEC. Find yourself a corp that operate in low sec. Find yourself a friend and start your own corp. But I mean, you will get so much more out of your industrial adventure, if you're going outside of ISEC, it is, I cannot stress that enough. So anyway, those are my list. I don't know if you agree or not or disagree. Leave a comment below. Let me know what you think, and hope you enjoy, and see you guys Friday for the usual update. Bye bye.